So the frustrations people go through in life, even in Christendom, those who go to church expecting that church is a miracle center, is that they do not discover their true purpose. So they are busy looking for that prophet or that shepherd that will make them rich, that will make them this or that, and they neglect their purpose. Even when they make that money, they are still not happy. But when you find your purpose, whether you are rich or you are poor, you will be a happy person. I think what happened to him is what happens to a lot of African leaders. They get into office and they make stupid money. And they quickly forget that their people are suffering. For me, 2023 will produce a more politically aware Nigerian electorate. In 2023, educated Nigerians who never went out to vote for anybody will go out and vote. In 2023, we will see the shame of people who have held Nigeria by the jugular and who still say, against every odd, we are still going to rule you. We will see the shame of a lot of them. NSAS has proven one thing, that there is an army of youth that are far more brilliant than the rogues in political office. They used state clout to keep them quiet, but not before those youth recognized that there is actually power in unity of purpose.
Okay, now, rounding up, sir, you are a former journalist, and in your days of journalism was so beautiful in your own time. You are the one that created GLITTERRATI in THISDAY magazine. So what are you missing? You left THISDAY at the time. A lot of people think the ovation was so loud. I mean, those are the days that everyone wants to buy THISDAY on Sunday because of Kunle Hamilton's GLITTERRATI magazine pull out. So, but why did you leave, and why did you leave at such a time that the ovation was loud? Is it that God forced you to leave, or you are just becoming so fed up with journalism?
Even to today, I still train people in journalism, so I can never be fed up. with journalism. That's what I went to school to learn. And that's what is feeding me too, apart from this work I'm doing for the Lord. I'm the kind of person who will walk away from anything I am convinced is against my ethics in life. That's what made me move from Vanguard when I left Vanguard, and it's what made me move from this day. But let me also say here that that secular decision will be misappropriated if I don't tell you a deeper reason. What I mean by secular decision was that there were things that affected my work, and I said, no, rather than compromise, I will leave. However, it came at a time that I also wanted to leave. I am one man who will not continue to allow my former boss to pay my salary when my church life was demanding my time more and more. So what I did was I took 2 years. I worked in this day for 6 years. But my effect there, you would think I worked there for 16 years. But I took 2 years, the last 2 years of those 6 years, to prepare for my own consulting outfit. I joined this day with a master's degree. So when I left this day, I needed to go and take a PhD. I left this day as a salary earner. So I made sure that in leaving, I'll become an entrepreneur earning money. So by the time I finally dropped my resignation, it was the same day I produced my last edition of GLITTERRATI. I still stayed overnight. I put my paper to bed. Then I called my graphics planner and gave her my resignation letter manuscript and said, type it. And she started crying. Oga, don't leave, Oga, don't leave. And I said, if you tell any other member of the team that I'm resigning, you're in trouble. Type that letter for me. She cried till she finished typing the letter. She went, I said, run upstairs and get the print before anybody else sees it. She brought it to me. I signed, I got an envelope, and I went to put it under the door of the managing director who had closed and gone home.
That's a very sad something that happened.
Yeah.
That's a shock.
Yes. So the most profound reason I left paid employment.
Well, a lot of people didn't want you to leave, actually.
Yes. The most profound reason was that my church life was taking over. I was not okay with somebody else paying my salary. I mean, I would produce my paper on a Friday night, 85% of the way, and go and preach in 2 or 3 celestial parishes in that same one night. Come back to this day at 5 in the morning, and then complete the 15% left in my production before I go home. I said, Ojo Olufeshe later. So as soon as my consultancy was ready, I did the honorable thing. I tendered my resignation and I walked away. I remember that after management picked my successor still called me and I produced 4 editions for him. In retirement, I produced 4 editions of GLITTERRATI for him.
It's not your stars.
So my journalism it has helped me a great deal in my ministry work. I still continue to enjoy the contacts I left behind in the field. They support my PR work. They support my church work. And you are one of my biggest supporters too. And I treasure knowing you in the field of journalism.
So, apart from knowing me, I remember one time when you were managing the incoming president of the Federal Republic of Sierra Leone, that is His Excellency Ernest Bai Koroma, and you brought the man to Nigeria, and we did a lot of PR for the man.
Incoming. You mean the former?
The former, yes. It was incoming at the time.
Okay, at the time, yes.
Yeah, at the time, when you were managing him, when you brought him to Nigeria, some of us, we did a lot of stories, and you told us that I was going to win, even though we didn't believe I was going to win, because I believed that Tejan Kaba
running against an incumbent.
Yeah, running against an incumbent, Tejan Kaba, whose deputy Solomon Bariwa was very profound at taking over after 10 years.
Fantastic. Benga, your memory is fantastic. Go on.
So when Mr. Kunle Hamilton, as it were, then of this day, came to sell this man to us, some of us, to be honest, we were just Yoruba will say Nyimu, that the man cannot win, that incumbency factor we never allow. And I remember that we wrote some stories, nice reports, and after the election, we didn't know the election was a tug of war, and there was a rerun because the INEC chairman in their country, Lady Top, then declared the election inconclusive. And you came to us and begged us that we should write another story on the day of the election, and we eventually, some of us wrote. And I remember you took us to Sierra Leone. Particularly, you sponsored my trip, and I was in Sierra Leone for almost a week. We met a lot of people like Alhaji Alpha B Kano, people like Barrister Sally Katuma, who is a very fantastic NGO, female NGO founder in Sierra Leone, one of the most popular female lawyer. People like the man himself, Harry Macaulay, who later became the Minister of Energy in that country. So, sir, how will you describe this moment? Because this moment, I didn't see you just as a journalist, I see you as a manager of nations. It's like you manage Sierra Leone, and when the president eventually won after the rerun, when the day you declared to me in a restaurant that I should go and bring my passport, that we were traveling the following week, I didn't believe you. So how will you describe this moment? Because those moments were very fantastic. I remember we landed in Sierra Leone and we were given a fantastic diplomatic treatment from Lungi Airport down. From Lungi, we were fleeing in a helicopter to Mamiyoko, and from Mamiyoko, we were fleeing to our hotels. And later, Barrister Ms. Katuma gave us one of the best treatment, and we enjoyed ourselves. People like Harry Macaulay, people like Jeneba Sese, people like Asha Tejan Cole. So, how will you describe those days, sir? Managing NS Bai Koroma?
We guys still can't get over all this. Your memory is too much. Oh. Those moments were awesome. I mean, I've been privileged to consult for 3 African presidents. Ernest Bai Koroma was the first. That inspired Henry Macaulay to hire my services because he had seen me do something for late Yar'Adua.
Okay.
And I also consulted for the campaign of Goodluck Jonathan. I have worked with technocrats like Diezani Alison Madokwe. Now, you see, the thing with me is that God does not separate my spiritual calling from my professional calling. Yes, I remember that what I said to you about Ernest Bai Koroma winning.
Yes, you said it.
Prophetic.
Yeah, it's appropriate because the day you told me that Oti Wale, I was thinking that Talo Wale, because we had a lot of problem. We wrote stories almost 2 or 3 times. And I remember the day I ran my story, that's how they were doing the run. I said, this Forabe College boy might become the president of Sierra Leone today. That was a kind of prophetic headline from my own end, and you told me that was the reason why you are putting me on the diplomatic invitation. And a lot of us, including what's his name, the ambassador from Liberia, I forgot his name now, it's across my mind. You know, a lot of people were on that trip, including our very fantastic woman, Emzo Pharmaceutical. A lot of people. So I'm saying that, how did you know that Bai Koroma was going to win, despite the humiliation? They never killed him.
That was the spiritual side of me.
Okay.
I did my professional work with excellence, but my spiritual side came into it too.
Okay, sir.
I prophesied the coming of Buhari. I prophesied the coming of Alison Madokwe. I told Alison Madokwe in her dining area in her house in Lagos, when people in Bayelsa were still leading a controversy and a charge that she should not be in government. I prophesied.
Her husband. They said she was not from there. I remember that story. They said it was her husband that was from Bayelsa.
Yeah.
That maybe she's from another tribe. I don't know.
I prophesied to her on her dining table that not only will Yar'Adua make you a minister, that you're going to have one of the biggest ministries rolled together for any minister. And 3 ministries were collapsed and given to her as Minister of Transportation. Aviation was collapsed and given to her. Roads and infrastructures were collapsed and given to her as Minister of Infrastructure. That is my spiritual side coming into my professional life. I prophesied that Goodluck Jonathan will lose to Buhari. The Goodluck Jonathan campaign team offered me a very juicy contract as a consultant, second time, and the Lord said I should turn it down. The guy who contacted me on the phone could not believe it. Kunle, do you know how much money you're walking away from? I said, but God said I can't take it. Say, Kunle, you're going to regret it, because when Goodluck Jonathan gets into it, I said, but he won't get there. And he did not get there. So that's what I'm saying, that as ministers, we must never allow our careers, our professions to taint our spiritual side. I mean, my wife, long before she met me, was given a spiritual message that the husband God will give her. I tell my wife, no matter what squabbles we have, I say, you can't go anywhere. God already told you that it is me that's your husband. Why didn't he describe somebody else to you? That description that God gave my wife was that she would marry a prophet and a teacher of the word. I ask myself today, why didn't God say to my wife, you will marry a doctor of mass communication? Why didn't he say to my wife, you will marry a journalist? I was working in VANGUARD when I married my wife. But you know what? Those things we become.
In fullness of time.
Those things we become do not matter to God as much as we use the things we become to fulfill his own purpose. As far as God is concerned, Kunle Hamilton can be a PhD holder, he can be a journalist, he can be a consultant, but Kunle Hamilton, Temida, is a prophet and a teacher. So the frustrations people go through in life, even in Christendom, those who go to church expecting that church is a miracle center, is that they do not discover their true purpose. So they are busy looking for that prophet or that shepherd that will make them rich, that will make them this or that, and they neglect their purpose. Even when they make that money, they're still not happy. But when you find your purpose, whether you are rich or you're poor, you will be a happy person. Once you fulfill your purpose, you'll be a happy person.
This is a breakthrough sermon. I think a lot of people missed it, and they are always looking for, they want to have house in Lekki, they want a house in Abuja, they want to buy a property in Accra or another one in Casablanca somewhere, you know. But thank God that you said this now. I still want to go back to Sierra Leone. Eventually, Koroma became president and he won, and he was able to do one or two things. How will you define his life? Because I remember we were in Sierra Leone, we traveled around, we went through the country. The country was in the very deeply dilapidated situation. There was no light, if not for the fact that the elite were the one hosting us. But how will you define those moments? And do you think Bai Koroma finished well? And how will you say Sierra Leone is looking like right now, especially for the African experience? Because it's just 2 hours, 40 minutes from here. It's very far, but it's a country that is bubbling with aspiration.
Bai Koroma had a unique opportunity, and he had 10 years, 2 terms of 5 years each, to make a statement. When I interviewed him in his office on a Friday in Freetown, I believed that he meant well. An insurance guru who went into politics and who seemed to be getting there soon. But after 10 years, he didn't leave a better Sierra Leone, given the same opportunities that he had. He could have done a lot better. But I think what happened to him is what happens to a lot of African leaders. They get into office and they make stupid money. And they quickly forget that their people are suffering. They are not motivated to build structures that will outlive them. There's something that poverty does to the average African before he becomes a leader. I think poverty erodes the sense of humaneness in us as Africans, such that when we finally seize power or get voted into office, we are not driven to make life better. I think that's what happened to Koroma. But I thank God for my brother and friend who introduced me to Koroma. Because when the government of Sierra Leone went into their probing panels, Ambassador Henry Macaulay, who first was their High Commissioner in Nigeria and then later became their Minister for Energy, was honorably discharged and acquitted. No scandal or corruption charge to his name. And that's what I think every African politician or technocrat who gets appointed into political space should aim for. I don't want to govern any state in Nigeria. I don't even want to be chairman of any local government office. But if somebody who gains power invites me to be a minister, invites me to be a commissioner, I will first of all remember that when God was going to describe me, he said I'm a prophet and a teacher. So I must never, if I take on such an appointment, I must never allow what I do in office malign my real purpose of existence. If anything at all, I should use whatever it is I gain from such an appointment to increase my influence as a prophet and as a teacher. That's what African leaders don't think about. Wherever that gentleman is today, good luck is, I hope, regretting his too, because he had wonderful opportunities to do greater than that, but he allowed too many people to steal Nigeria dry just for him to remain in power. I believe that 4 years is long enough for anyone to do something meaningful in the political space. If you do so well in 4 years, even when people are begging you to come back, you should shakara that you don't even want to come back.
Just like Nelson Mandela.
You understand? You should. In 4 years, it's long enough time to raise somebody else to come and do better, who has more energy, who has more brilliance. But no, whether it's leadership of church or leadership, I don't have a child who wants to take over my ministry. No. If I'm sincere about running in ministry, why can't somebody else who is not a Hamilton take over my ministry when I'm gone? Or even make him take over my ministry while I'm still alive? Why do we always want to die in office in Africa? Whether it's church or local government or state government, why are we like that as Africans? But for the church to start preaching against that, the church itself, he who must come to equity must come with clean hands. The church itself must ensure that it cleans up within.
So turning down Jonathan's job and Buhari coming in, with what President Buhari has done, I'm one of those who voted for him. I believe so much in him. But we just have 2 years to his exit now. How do you see his exit life going to be like? What do you see it becoming? And 2023 as a prophet and as a minister of God, what do you see 2023 being like in Nigeria, especially with the different accusations, self-reliances, the Yoruba agitation for his nation state, the Igbo agitation for a nation state, and a whole lot of some other pocket of aggressiveness here and there. What do you see the exit life of President Buhari going to be? Because you prophesy is going to come in. You're one of the prophets that said he's coming, he's going to win. did you think his after power life is going to be better? And do you think Nigeria is going to be on a very good note in 2023? How do you think we're going to find it with ourselves?
I wish Buhari did not run for second term. I believe sincerely that sometimes when God makes somebody gain power, it is for that person to fulfill purpose. It is also sometimes to punish a people. God used Saul to punish Israel.
Yes, to punish them to correctness.
I believe that God has used Buhari to punish Nigeria. As a carnal person, Buhari was more qualified than Atiku or anyone else who ran against him, because he had proven he's the only Nigerian president without foreign treasures as at the time he came into governance. Nobody else in Nigeria can live like Buhari in a position of power. That qualified him. But we have since recognized that not wanting to steal money alone is not the only reason that you should go for power. Because if you're not stealing money and everybody around you is stealing money, of what use is your presidency? He did not, even if he had wanted to retire in the first 4 years, those who surrounded him and were still in the country blind would not have allowed him. That's why there's so much talk about there is a clone of him there, he has died, and all of those things. For me, 2023 will produce a more politically aware Nigerian electorate. In 2023, educated Nigerians who never went out to vote for anybody will go out and vote. In 2023, we will see the shame of people who have held Nigeria by the jugular and who still say, against every odd, we are still going to rule you. We will see the shame of a lot of them. But the Uhuru for Nigeria will not be 2023.
How do you mean, sir?
Whoever will emerge president in 2023 will not be the savior of Nigeria. It will just be a defining time in, you know why?
Why, sir? Because I'm afraid.
I told you about biblical numerology, I told you about numbers. Think deeply as a Celestial and you will realize that the problem of Celestial Church are the problems of Nigeria. People who should not lead us are leading us, both in Nigeria as well as in Celestial Church, at different levels. And I told you in 2 years, which is 2023, that something is going to happen to change the course and direction of Celestial Church. The same 2023, something is going to happen that will change the course of Nigeria. That is what biblical intelligence, spiritual insight has given me to say. I want to appeal to Nigerians, regardless of our denominations or religions. I want to appeal to Nigerians that we are as guilty as the terrible individuals we have voted into office. We are just as guilty as they are for what Nigeria has become. Fortunately, we can change it. The people we vote in cannot change it. We are the ones who can change where Nigeria is going.
What did you see with NSAS? Did you see anything with NSAS?
NSAS has proven one thing, that there is an army of youth that are far more brilliant than the rogues in political office. They used state clout to keep them quiet, but not before those youth recognized that there is actually power in unity of purpose. What NSAS has done is what will create the change in 2023 amongst the Nigerian electorate. I am hoping something stupid happened with the Showores and his generation that wanted to run for office. You cannot spring from nowhere to high office. It means you are fraudulent. You should be ready to go through the ranks. If you truly want to change Nigeria, you don't need to be the president to change it. Start the change from where is closest to you.
The change.
What have you seen those people who wanted to run for office? I mentioned Showore because he's a journalist. You understand? I don't want to mention the others. Whatever it is I say, a Showore should be able to take it without feeling bad.
Okay, sir.
We are journalists, all right?
Yes, sir.
But every young person who said they wanted to run for high office, can they come and show me what they did in communities with their own money? How have you demonstrated? You see, talk is cheap. You can't go on air and be giving motivational talk and say that is what qualifies you for office. You can't go on air and be running people down and you say that is what qualifies you for office. What qualifies you for political office is what we have seen you do with your own money in your own little area of influence. Your community should be the one fighting for you to have political office.
The community should be the one
fighting for you to have political office because you have demonstrated your passion for your community. And no community can take one person and put him in presidency. You understand? Yes. So you influence your community at the local council level with your money without going into political office. And you will see that community gather and say, Ejowa Loba wa she chairman local government wa.
But do you think that can happen in Nigeria whereby votes are being bought?
But that is what should happen in Nigeria.
But votes are being bought with rice, bag of rice, Indomie, and
let's not limit ourselves to what is wrong with us. Okay, let's focus on what can fix us. As long as people are collecting small rice and small change, Nigeria won't be fixed. As long as the educated don't go out and queue, don't go. I want to see a situation where a Gbenga Asabe, apart from being an entrepreneur of Asabe Africa TV, will actually be canvassing for somebody he is sure will not get into office and mess up because he has a track record of that person. I look forward to a situation where, as a minister of religion, I will not say it on the pulpit that you should go and vote for one person, but I will tell you on the pulpit that you must go out and vote. That is what will rescue Nigeria.
Sir, on a last note, do you have an advice for young people? Your ministry is, you have developed a lot of young people and you keep developing them every year. We have them in different spheres of influence in corporate Nigeria, in the ecclesiastical Nigeria, there's the clergy sector, and even abroad. If you find yourself in a room now with 1 million Nigerian youths from south, west, north, east, what is going to be your chief message to them as a father, as a manager of human resources, as a church leader, as a prophet, and as an entrepreneur? What's going to be your chief message to young people, 1 million youths, confused, disgruntled youths of Nigeria?
I'll tell them that the first thing they must not do is kill themselves. You must not see the Hausa as your enemy, or the Igbo or the Yoruba as your enemy. You must not see any ethnic tribe as your enemy. What we all have is a collective enemy, and it is corruption. And that corruption can come from a Hausa man, a Yoruba man, an Igbo man, and we have actually seen that happen. So the Nigerian youth should not let their ranks be divided by religious cries, ethnic cries, tribal cries. The next thing I'm going to tell the Nigerian youth is that stop looking for people who will give you money, because they will give you with one hand and make you do ugly things with the other. Rather, look for what your own hand can do for yourself. The Nigerian youth must never relent in training his hands or begging. Don't beg for money, beg people to help you become somebody. I cannot resist people who come to me and say, I want to go to school. But I will resist people who come to me and say, give me money for food. I will tell the Nigerian youth that education is what will take him and his family out of poverty. Whether it's at primary, secondary, or tertiary level, or goes ahead to professional and vocational level, it is education that will help everybody out of meaningless existence. I will tell the Nigerian youth that whatever he pursues in life, he must not forsake moral standards. I will tell the Nigerian youth that the world has become a global village, and he should not just see himself in the space called Nigeria. He should benchmark everything he or she does with what people his age are doing in Canada, in America, in England, in Germany, the rest of Europe, in China. So that way he will no longer be thinking small. We are now global citizens. COVID did not look for one geographical address. It went everywhere in the world. So the Nigerian youth must see himself as a citizen of his country as well as a citizen of the world, so that he doesn't clap for himself over small achievements when he should be striving for global achievements. After all, is it not Nigerians like him? 28 of them in the Biden administration. When governorship elections will start in the US, I know a Nigerian that is running for governorship in the US. I know a Nigerian that is running for deputy governor in the US. That is the future of Nigerians. They should not be limited by their geography. The Nigerian youth is a big man. He should not think small.
Well, it has been a very wonderful encounter with you, sir. I want to thank you so much for this moment. This is one of the reasons why we're always begging you, we're always chasing you for an interview, because anytime you open your mouth, it's like a generational blessing is being unleashed on the generational come. But I want to ask you that the next time that we're going to look for you, I hope it's not going to be so hard like this, sir.
I'll be very happy to talk to Asabe Africa TV anytime. Thank you.
God bless you so much, sir. It's been a very wonderful time with Dr. Kunle Hamilton, the author, the thinker, journalist, public relations expert, clergy, and a leadership advocate. He is an ambassador of good governance, and he is also a builder of nations. I want to thank you so much for all you've learned, for all you've seen from this interview, this encounter. Till the next time that we're going to find ourselves in his ambience for another wonderful encounter, please let the discourse continue. God bless you and goodbye.